Colts Talk presented by Prize Picks. Surprise! That's right, a couple of things we got here on the show to talk about what we're hearing from training camp as we're 2 days in now. Surprises that we saw specifically in the lineup is what we're going to talk about on today's show. I'll give a shout out right away to Stampede Blue. They do a good job in their Colts coverage. They were boots on the ground day one of training camp, talking about some offensive and defensive lineups that they were seeing that we're going to break down a little bit. Some surprises there, some reaction from me, from you. You know how we do it here on Colts Talk. We always love to hear from you guys as we get into it. And we will begin with the starting offense. Again, this was a featured group reported by Stampede Blue in the first team reps, starting reps, however you want to put it. Daniel Jones, by the way, from what we've heard, everything good, right? Didn't look hurt, didn't look injured, so you love to see that. Jonathan Taylor participating in practice and camp. Love that. Tyler Warren, from what we're seeing right away, I just wanted to add these little notes. Seemed like he was a major target for the offense, and then we get to the interesting stuff. Reminder, no Alec Pierce. He is on the side practicing as a part of the active PUP list. Then you have Ashton Dulin, Josh Downs, and Laquon Treadwell. Yes, Laquon Treadwell running with the ones, getting that opportunity with the starting offense. Dulin had proven himself enough. We figured he would be out there. Downs, obviously, right? Projected to have some sort of breakout year, breakout candidate. Then Laquon Treadwell, the former first-round pick of the Minnesota Vikings. These are career stats for him, right? As he's played years in the NFL now. And most recently, though, the past 2 years has been all special teams. Has not racked up offensive stats in general. So to see him as the wide receiver 2, the opposite Ashton Dulin out there, kind of surprised me for the Indianapolis Colts. Did it surprise you, though? Were you surprised to hear or see, if you were at training camp, Laquon Treadwell running out there with the starters, the ones? Type Y for yes, type no. You figured he'd be out there. Let us know what you think down in the comments section below. Again, the surprise for me, not only the fact that Laquon Treadwell's out there running with the ones in general, but the idea of Nick Westbrook-Ikhine once again just not making ground for the Colts. And we've talked about Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. His best year was 2 years ago in 2024, where he had a couple touchdowns for the Dolphins, the Titans. And then last year was with the Dolphins, wasn't as good. The Colts hoping to get him going. Doesn't look like it's headed that way, as it is Laquon Treadwell running with the ones opposite Ashton Dulin at this point in time. Only thing I can really think or go to in this situation is, hey, maybe Shane Steichen wants one last look at Laquon Treadwell, the wide receiver. And again, it's not like Laquon Treadwell can't play wide receiver. He was a former first-round pick. He's had years where he was okay enough. You kind of felt like he leaned more into a 4 or 5 receiver depth. But again, no offensive stats the past 2 years. Interesting to see him getting some runs. So that was a surprise on offense. I did want to let you guys know the rest of the group that we, again, reportedly saw this from Stampede Blue. On the offensive line, Jalen Travis, Tanor Bortolini, Matt Goncalves at right guard, Bortolini at center, Quenton Nelson, and Bernhard Raimann at left tackle. There's no surprises in that group there. That is your starting offensive line. That is your projected starting offensive line. The only surprise, and I call it a good surprise, we did know Jalen Travis was dealing with a back injury for the Indianapolis Colts going in to some of the mini camps and OTAs and things like that. So for your projected starting 5 to come out healthy for the Indianapolis Colts, I just wanted to note it's good, right? We're glad to see everyone healthy to start things off in training camp along the offensive line. They have to step up too, right? We know with the Daniel Jones stuff, A, protect Daniel Jones, and B, they weren't overly great when Daniel Jones went down. You want to see better play on the offensive line for the Colts. So those are kind of your look at offense from what's being reported out of the first 2 days of training camp. Reminder that today's show is presented by Prize Picks. They are America's #1 sports picks app, the best place to win cash while watching sports. And right now, with the Prize Picks apps, they have early payouts. That's right. So if your player or players get off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. I know a lot of people are really excited about that on the Prize Picks app. I wanted to feature a lineup that I put together on the Prize Picks app season long. We got our boys from the Colts going here. Tyler Warren, Jonathan Taylor, more on some of their season-long stats. Warren, he had more than those receiving yards last season. I project even more this year. So I went more on his receiving yards. Same with Jonathan Taylor. I expect a big year, contract year, more on his rushing touchdowns. And then sort of, a hate watch in a way. Our boy C.J. Stroud, I went more on his passing interceptions season long for C.J. Stroud. So again, easy to put together a lineup there on Prize Picks that was season long. Plus with their new user offer, play your first $5 and get $150 in lineups if you win that first lineup. All you have to do is use code HMA when you sign up. That's right, Prize Picks just switched up their offer, so there's no better time to join. Lock in and win that first lineup. That's code HMA at signup to get $150 in bonus lineups if you win your first $5 lineup on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. A look at the starting defense for the Indianapolis Colts. Arden Key, Leatu Latu, Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner, Akeem Davis-Gaither. Probably no surprises, right? Nothing crazy there. Right there, though, Bryce Boettcher, my boy Bryce, the Oregon pick. Not a surprise for me to see Bryce Boettcher step in. Again, if you missed it the other day, C.J. Allen out to begin training camp with a calf injury. Look, you got to be careful with the calf injuries. Those turn into something worse. Achilles, ACLs, it's all connected, so you got to be careful with the calf stuff. No surprise for me that Bryce Boettcher stepped in for C.J. Allen, maybe for some of you, but I had hyped up Bryce Boettcher enough. We knew he did good in rookie minicamps and OTAs and some other stuff. So you remember the interception, the pick 6 he had that we highlighted here on Colts Talk. I've been very excited about him because of how uber athletic Bryce Boettcher is in general. I think he was able to fill in for Akeem Davis-Gaither or C.J. Allen. I think he's more suited towards filling in for Akeem Davis-Gaither. However, he's in there for C.J. Allen, and I know a lot of people, maybe the surprise for them was the fact that Boettcher gets those looks there instead of Jalen Carlies. There's a couple different options at linebacker for the Colts, but the next guy up with experience might have been Jalen Carlies in this situation. Didn't play much in 2025. He was dealing with an ankle injury for the Colts. He's a former safety turned into a linebacker. He did have some stats from 2024 kind of put in position for Indy. I just know a lot of people thought he would be next up after Boettcher, maybe to get a look in that situation. I know there's other guys in this situation, but again, for me, it's no surprise that it was Boettcher over Carlies or anybody else in that linebacker group filling in with C.J. Allen, again, dealing with that calf injury for Indianapolis at this time. Reminder, you want to be a part of Colts Talk's free coverage of training camp. There's 3,000 other people already subscribed to Colts Talk. If you want to be a part of it as well, be sure you hit that subscribe button. There's over 3,000. You want to be a part of it. It's easy to do. Hit that sub button right now. And look at the rest of the defense that we saw here. Again, reported from Stampede Blue in training camp. Sauce Gardner, Justin Wally, Charvarius Ward. Those guys stood out, by the way, reported and said by Shane Steichen that they were out there making plays. Not as much about Wally, but the gruesome twosome, I'm calling them that. Gardner and Ward, good start for them in training camp. Then it was Cam Bynum and Hunter Wohler at the other safety spot. Wohler missed 2025 after a preseason injury. He had a major foot injury that cost him the rest of the year. Wasn't able to really step in and help and develop for the Colts the way we thought that he might. And I will note, we got this report from players and coaches that they thought Wohler looked amazing last year in the time that he spent. So it's a little bit of a loss for him not to be able to play for the Colts last season. He's out there right now running opposite Cam Bynum. The surprise here, I thought that would be A.J. Haulcy. Right, Lou Anarumo was talking about how good A.J. Haulcy has been. Same with Cam Bynum himself has said how good A.J. Haulcy has been. We noted him as a gem, as a steal, however you want to put it. Little surprising for me not to see A.J. Haulcy opposite Cam Bynum to begin camp. There's a competition to be had here as to who should start opposite Cam Bynum. I want to give you guys an early opportunity to call out who you think will start for Indy opposite Bynum, or who you think should start opposite Cam Bynum. Hunter Wohler, you can type A. A.J. Haulcy, type B. Let us know what you think. Again, Lou Anarumo talking about Haulcy doesn't make repeated mistakes. He doesn't look like a rookie all the time out there. Cam Bynum talking about how athletic Haulcy is, how good he looks on the field to begin things for the Indianapolis Colts. I had him as the starting safety opposite Bynum. I thought he was going to be the guy to get out there and make plays. I thought he was going to be the guy to get out there and wow right away in training camp because he was carrying momentum from what he'd already done. But, and again, this isn't to say that he won't do it and that this won't be something he did. But I do think Haulcy, maybe we gave him a little too much credit too fast. Then you kind of have the opportunity to say, hey, we're early in camp. Both these guys, are essentially, if you look at Haulcy and then Wohler missed all of last season, and there's a lot of hype around Haulcy. They're both essentially rookies at this point in time, right? That's kind of how I'm feeling about both these guys playing. So for me personally, it's not one of the deals where I'm like, oh, Wohler has all this experience. He deserves first crack. Or Haulcy was drafted at this point in the draft. He deserves first crack. It's kind of like, hey, they're both essentially rookies at this point in time, and it'll be a competition that we're going to watch going forward.